trying to find something that would represent around, Diane said, around the 1700s with our colonials and the foods they were eating. Right up on the Ryan Engine, they have baked beans and peas porridge. Now, who knows what peas porridge is? I did not. And peas porridge is a savory pudding made of boiled legumes, usually split yellow peas, with water, salt, and spices, often cooked with bacon or ham joint. The baked beans, the peas porridge were an everyday fare, pretty much, for our colonists, particularly during the winter, and it was usually eaten with a coarse, dark bread. The name rye and Injun because it was made with rye flour and cornmeal. And being that the native peoples used the corn more, the maize, they called it Indian meal. So they named this bread rye and Injun. I hope you all had a chance to taste it. I thought that was also really good. Native peoples of the northeastern woodlands were the first to prepare this particular dish. It's from the Narragansett language. So Quatahash, close to that in their language. Succotash, so Quatahash. Usually it is any dish made with sweet corn, lima beans, or other shell beans, and that's usually what that consists of. During the Depression, it was very popular because it was nutritious, but it was also rather inexpensive to make, so it was popular then. Traditional dish of many Thanksgiving celebrations and in New England, as well as in Pennsylvania. Then it's spread like down to the south, that type of thing with very similar ingredients. So that's kind of this table here. And over here at your leisure, you can take a look at all of this. But a few things. One of the things that the colonists during the 1700s, they did a lot of fasting because there was a lot of religious observances during that time, and over half the year they did not eat meat because of religious practices. Dairy products, from what I found online, a lot of Irish and Scottish immigrants had been instrumental in bringing cattle to the colonies. So I thought this was interesting. Food, the preserving. That was a big problem for quite a while because if they made something, they had to eat it right away, otherwise it was going to spoil. Then they started finding different ways to preserve, salting, smoking, pickling, and I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Desiccation, if anyone knows, and Diane and I had to look that up earlier. It's a drying process, extreme drying. So I didn't know what that was, so I found a new word today. This is a little bit about here in Rhode Island. I don't know if any of you know of the Fry Farm in East Greenwich area. You might want to take a look and read about that. It's still in operation today. It started as a primarily dairy farm, 1677, but it is still there. You probably know that our state drink is coffee milk. And our state fruit, the Rhode Island greening apple. I did not know that. Our edible state symbols are striped bass, the greening apple, and the quahaw, and a type of plant. For crops, like wheat was very impractical because of our type of soil. And when we were building our house and our contractor came in with the bulldozer or whatever, he said, "Man, you have bony soil." And I said, "Bony soil?" He says, "Yeah, that's the bones of the earth. The rocks are the bones of the earth." So that's what we were told about that. So it wasn't conducive to growing the crops such as wheat. Colonial food and drink. Drinks consumed by the colonialists, such as coffee, tea, chocolate. And Then from the household industries, we started getting alcohol, and such as beer, cider, whiskey, and rum. And probably, as a lot of you know, rum became a major export of Rhode Island. Meats available in the colonies. This is just an idea of when our colonists came. They might, some of these animals might have been eaten with meat. There were options, but the colonists would have tried cooking some of these. However, the poor usually hunted and did eat the deer, squirrel, possum, rabbit. But all of these were available: deer, squirrel, possum, rabbit, hare, elk, bear, coyote, fox, raccoon, porcupine, weasel, and beaver. But the colonists did not necessarily like a lot of the meats that were available to hunt. Fowl, turkeys, geese, partridge, quails, grouse, prairie chickens, and woodcock. Those were also all available to help supplement the meals during this time. And they raised domestic animals for meat that came from the Europeans, which would supplement some of these indigenous meats, foods, were the colonists from England. Beef, pork, lamb, mutton, chicken, and goose were brought in more. There was a lot of trading, obviously, going on. The homeland, England, actually, what they brought over certainly was much more than what the colonists were able to ship out. But there was some trading, but England and some of the European countries were getting the better deal as far as the monies and such. So this is available. Fruits and vegetables, I mean, you probably already have a pretty good idea of what was available to the colonists. I love this picture here, if you get a chance, a little colonial people sitting at their table and eating a meal. Take a look at the size of this lobster. I don't know how many of those are still left around or out there or whatever. Here's a piece of the salt pork next to the fish here, and kale. They ate a lot of kale.